What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be talking Ram 1500 TRX. So I'll be honest, in today's video, I really wanted to jump into the Challenger just like the old times and make a video about this truck. But unfortunately, it's way too dark outside. It's like 9 o'clock, so you guys wouldn't be able to see me. So let's just jump into my office and we'll just chat in there. All right, so just as the title suggests, today's video is everything you need to know about the 2021 Ram TRX. So let's get started. I'm sure you already know, but the Ram 1500 TRX was just released today, which was August 17th, 2020, and it is the next vehicle in FCA's lineup to get the Hellcat implant. So this is the first ever Ram truck to get the glorious 6.2 liter supercharged V8 out of the Hellcat Chargers and Challengers. And if you are keeping count, this is the fifth vehicle to get the Hellcat engine, first being the Challenger, then the Charger, then the Jeep Trackhawk, then just recently the Dodge Durango for 1 year of production, and now the Ram 1500 TRX. Before we dive into the details, I absolutely love the fact that they are using this engine in multiple different platforms and vehicle brands. I mean, why else create this state-of-the-art amazing engine if you aren't going to use it in all of your different vehicles? I love what FCA is doing here because it just promotes additional development of super high-performance engines. I mean, think about it. If they created the Hellcat engine just for the Dodge Challenger alone, they would never again create another high-performance engine in the future. I mean, there just wouldn't be enough sales with the Challenger Hellcat on itself to justify the research and development costs to develop that type of engine. And so I really appreciate the fact that they are justifying their expenses for this development by putting it into a Challenger, a Charger, a Jeep Trackhawk, a Dodge Durango, and now a Ram 1500. I mean, what's next? The Chrysler Pacifica? You heard it here first if that's the next announcement. But in all seriousness, huge respect to FCA for doing that. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. Well, to me, it appears that Ram took everything the Ford did with the Raptor and made it just this much better. That's how much better they made it. To start off with the engine, like I was talking about, it is the same 6.2 liter supercharged V8 from the Hellcat, but in this platform, it produces 702 horsepower versus the 707 that we're used to in the old Challenger, and 650 pound-feet of torque. And Ram made it known in their release video that this is the quickest, the fastest, and the most powerful production truck on the market. It does 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. It can do the quarter mile in 12.9 seconds. And it reaches a top speed of 118 miles per hour. Now, I will note that is limited because of the tires. Goodyear had to make specific Ram TRX tires for the vehicle because no other sizes would fit the TRX. And so I assume if you're able to get different types of tires on this truck, you could probably go over 118 miles per hour with your 702 horsepower. Just for reference, the old 2000s SRT10 Ram had a top speed of 154 miles per hour. Now that had a Viper engine, but this one has a Hellcat engine. I'll let you guys decide what the actual top speed is of this vehicle. Now I know there is an elephant in the room with the Ford Shelby F-150, which has over like 770 horsepower, but that isn't an off-road oriented truck. That is a sports car put into a truck body. Now the TRX, similar to the Raptor, sits 8 inches wider than its standard Ram 1500. And for this reason, due to federal regulations, they have to add orange marker lights, which they have added to the hood scoop, making it a much more unique looking truck. Now, in order to fit the 35-inch custom tires on the TRX, Ram actually had to move the front axle of the 1500 20 millimeters forward in order to accommodate the giant size. But due to the tires, The TRX has a class-leading ground clearance of 11.85 inches. And as a result of the front hood scoop, this vehicle has a higher water-fording ability of 32 inches. So the position of the hood scoop isn't just there for appearance, it actually serves a purpose. Now the TRX is equipped with Bilstein E2 Blackhawk dampers, which can handle speeds over 100 miles per hour and can actually detect when you've jumped the vehicle and adjust the suspension so that you have a smooth landing. Speaking of jumps, the front wheels have 13 inches of wheel travel and the rear wheels have 14 inches of wheel travel. I can't even imagine what that looks like in the air. Now, because of the way the suspension is set up and the ride height, you actually have an approach angle of 30.2 degrees. For your breakover angle, you have 21.9 degrees, and your departure angle is 23.5 degrees. Moving into the interior, they also made some small tweaks and changes. One of the most noticeable changes is that they moved the traditional rotary style gear selector that's common amongst Ram 1500s for a pretty long time now, and they moved it to the center console just like any traditional pickup truck. In the space of where that rotary used to be, they have added the drive mode and transfer case selector as well as your launch control. Speaking of launches, this is the first Ram truck to come with SRT performance pages, which if you guys are familiar with those, they can track your G-forces, your 0 to 60, your 0 to 100, etc, etc, etc. But that's pretty cool to have that on a truck. They also added a feature similar to the F-150, which is a trailer reverse knob, so you can actually turn the knob whichever way you want the trailer to turn and the car will do the rest. Honestly, I've never used this feature, but if it works, this is probably the best invention ever made, even better than a backup camera, because if you've ever tried backing up a huge trailer, you're gonna know the struggle, and it would be awesome to have a little knob that can do all of the work. But I digress. So overall, the interior just feels a little bit more special, and you can get custom colors depending on which edition you purchase. It will also be the first Ram truck to have paddle shifters, which is a really nice touch if you're gonna have 702 horsepower. And all Ram TRX models will come standard with the previously optional 12-inch massive Uconnect system. Now, in terms of towing, it can actually tow a pretty impressive 8,100 pounds. Obviously, towing decreases when you add this type of fancy suspension because you don't really need to jump a trailer. And the suspension just isn't built for towing that type of weight. One competitive advantage for the TRX is the engine. And I don't mean that it's a 6.2 liter Hellcat. What I mean is the number one complaint that you hear from people who own a Ford Raptor or from people who review a Raptor is that it's lacking that V8 that the previous generation Raptor had. It just doesn't produce the same sound. Even though it is a better engine, it's quicker, it's more fuel efficient, it's lacking in the visceral experience. And so for everybody who has complained, there's the Ram 1500 TRX. It's really the only V8 option on the market if you're looking for an off-road truck. And knowing how all other Hellcat engines sound, it's gonna sound amazing. So if that's the only thing holding you back from getting a Raptor, well, there's the Ram 1500 TRX for you. So if you guys are interested in purchasing one, well, you can actually start ordering one as of tomorrow, which is August 18th, 2020. And the starting price is just over $72,000. Now that's pretty steep considering you can buy a brand new Raptor for like $58,000, but the Raptor does not come with a supercharged V8 engine. Now, if you guys want to be one of the very first to purchase a Ram 1500 TRX, there is going to be a limited release launch edition where they will only make 702 models. So if you want to get your hands on one of those launch edition models, you should probably order it tomorrow. One caveat, the launch edition starts just over $90,000. So let's sum up the entire video. It's obvious the Ram 1500 TRX only has one competitor out there, and that is the Ford Raptor. And honestly, Ford is ahead of the game by almost a decade, since they were the only manufacturer on the planet to have this off-road full-sized pickup truck. And I'm surprised it's taken Ram so long to create a competitor, considering they've had a long time to create one. And GM and Chevy isn't even in the game right now. Their closest competitor is the Colorado, but that is a much smaller pickup truck. My personal opinion is competition is always a good thing. Although it's not the easiest pill to swallow, it breeds creativity and new products, and that's how we have the Hellcat engines of today, and a truck that has over 700 horsepower. I'm curious to see if GM is gonna release some sort of competitor, and I want to see what the next generation Raptor is gonna look like. Obviously, Ford had known that Ram was developing this Hellcat powered truck, and so they probably took that into their development of the next generation Raptor. All in all, it just means more powerful trucks and more fun off-roading. So what are my thoughts on the Ram TRX? Well, I'll be honest, it's hard for me to tell based on the photos, but I don't necessarily love the looks of the vehicle. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of the Ram 1500. I think it's probably one of the most luxurious looking trucks on the road. But I wish they made the Ram 1500 TRX a little bit more aggressive. Now, like I said, it's hard to tell over photos, and I'm sure seeing it in person, it may be a little bit more imposing and more aggressive and scary looking, but just based on the photos, it looks like just a slightly dressed up Ram 1500. Whereas when I look at the Raptor and compare it to a standard F-150, it definitely looks more like a monster. But then again, looks are subjective, and it's always hard to judge something based off of a photo. I also am not convinced if I love the name TRX. I know why they chose it. It's for T-Rex, which, you know, in Jurassic Park, the T-Rex kills the Raptor, and they even used that in their release video. But I almost wish they went a little bit more original. Rather than trying to play catch up with F-150 and the Raptor, they could have gone their own way, seeing as how they have an amazing product in their hands and an amazing engine like the Hellcat. When you hear the name Hellcat or Trackhawk, you just wish the TRX had a little bit more of a aggressive name. But hey, that's just one man's opinion, and T-Rex is a pretty cool name for a truck. Now, the last question I want to address that people have been asking me is, do I regret reserving a Ford Bronco now that this Ram TRX has come out into the market? And the quick answer is no, I don't regret it. Don't get me wrong, I would love to own a Ram 1500 TRX. I think that would be a awesome vehicle to drive around and go in the sand dunes and off-roading, but at the end of the day, they serve different purposes, and the MSRP is dramatically different. The Ford Bronco that I'm looking at is anywhere from the high 30s to the low 40s, whereas I would be lucky to find a Ram TRX for $72,000. I imagine they're going to be closer to the 80s, and I'm sure they're going to sell like hotcakes because it's really the only off-road V8 option on the market. But at the end of the day, it's comparing apples to oranges. They're two different vehicles, so no, I am still going to keep my Ford Bronco reservation because that's going to be replacing my daily driver Toyota RAV4. But if I was going to go for a TRX, I would definitely have to sell the Challenger and the RAV4 and probably put some money down, and I'm just not planning to do that for a truck. Well, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I just wanted to do a quick synopsis of the Ram 1500 TRX and also let you know my thoughts on the truck and whether I regret reserving a Bronco or not. If this is your first time checking out the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll put the little bubble somewhere on the screen, and stay tuned for the next video. I've actually got a really exciting video dropping this Wednesday, August 19th. So stay tuned for that because it's one of the most exciting car reviews I've ever done. Also find me on Instagram at Schwazy_, and DM me on there if you guys have any questions in regards to the Challenger or any of my videos. But until next time, take care and have a wonderful day.